When you think of the most popular fan-made games of Pokemon, you probably think of Radical Red, Unbound, Insurgents, Emerald Kaizo, or Run and Bun, but none even come close to the magnitude of Pokemon Uranium. A fan game that got so popular Nintendo had to shut it down with DMCAs a few years back. From adding many new Fakemon to a new nuclear type, this is just a whirlwind of a game to play. I took this game on with hardcore Nuzlocke rules, which are listed on screen right now. Feel free to pause if you want to read. This game actually comes preloaded with its very own Nuzlocke mode, as well as a debug to add rare candies and much more. But that's enough yapping, let's blast through the Tandor region. We are greeted by what I can only assume is an Aussie professor in Bambo, and we pick our character as we name ourselves Potato as always. We proceed to get a massive lore dump about how 10 years ago a major nuclear meltdown happened and our mum Lucille stayed behind for some reason. As a result, over the preceding years, our father Callum became overly dedicated to his job of keeping others safe so they wouldn't have to endure what he has been for so long, leaving us behind in the process. 10 years on, however, the load has become too much to bear for our old auntie, and luckily for her, Bambo wants our help in becoming a researcher. We wake up on our first day and are already running late. So we race over to the lab after saying goodbye to our auntie. She wishes us and our neighbour Theo well, as we head over to the lab with some fresh new Jordan 1s, and Theo comes chasing after us to get the first, quote, better pick of the starter. Upon entering the lab though, the professor doesn't even call Theo by his name, instead calling him Tommy? The professor needs some field research assistance and wants to give us a Pokemon in order to help with that though. However, well, we don't really pick it. We do it by answering questions in a hyper-specific way, which isn't really hard to tell how. But on the first couple of attempts I picked Raptorch, and we'll get to those attempts a little later. On the third attempt however we pick Archinx, a grass steel type with battle armor as an ability. Really good. We name a metal cat guy Goat, and Theo wants to fight us with his Elitox, a water electro type like Lantern, but we kick his butt with leech seeds and tackles. He knows how hard we kicked his butt because he starts having a tantrum like a little kid. Hopefully he becomes a little bit less of a whiny kid later on when he gets stronger. But for now he runs away crying as we go to his house where his dad thought we did something to hurt him. After explaining to him that we just beat him with our Pokemon because we had a type advantage, even his dad tells him that just because you have a type disadvantage doesn't mean you can't train to overcome it. Bambo shows us then how to catch Pokemon and gives me his balls. It's a bit weird of an adult to give them to a child, but we move. Now, because our starter was obtained in Mocky Town, I can't get a Pokemon here, so we shimmy across to Route 1 where I get a Cubug, a bug fairy type who I call Little Homie. At the same time though, if you like what you're seeing, feel free to subscribe, it goes a long way in helping the channel. On Route 2 I get a Chienmunk, which is kinda just this game's kinda like Rattata or Rodent I guess. I named the little guy Elvin too, and in the next area I catch a Tonami. It kinda sucks so I named it Arse. So making our way through the passage cave, we get to Notok City, where we get to fight our first gym leader, but before that there's a weird guy in front of the gym saying she's probably asleep at home. Rather than being a normal person and waiting around until later, we use our RPG plot armor and have a house key for some reason, and we break into her house because we're invincible to the law. She wants to know what the hell we were doing and how we got a key, and explain that a weird guy gave it to us in front of her gym. She explains to us that he's a creepy stalker and then gives him more than a piece of her mind. Turns out this guy is just a super fan of her though, as she was apparently a former champion of the region, but now she just wants to be a bit more of a normal person, or a Joe Blow. As we level our Pokemon up, our little homie evolved into Cobblefly, and we take on our first gym leader. She has normal types and leads off with our Oatsin. I lead with Orkinx, who leads with some Leech Seed and chip damage before it takes it out. Then comes Felling, who follows the same fate after a switch or 2 or 3 or 4 due to Yawn. Then Faliga, her ace, comes in, and with the help from Tonami's Poison Gas as well as Leech Seed, this big guy stood no chance, and we get our first gym badge. I try to leave Nautok and get stopped by my rival Theo. We show him our badge, and he gets up in arms about it, proclaiming that he should have gotten the badge first. His barrel goes down to 2 Metal Claws, and the Elitox goes down to a single Vine Whip. He cries that we kicked his ass yet again, and we go back to Mocky Town to show Bambo our new shiny gym badge. He then takes us into the lab to check our Pokedex and gives us some more of his balls. So with his balls we catch some more Pokemon like this Oatsin. We level up our Pokemon and evolve our Chienmunk into a Kinnetmunk, and then we get to Barol Town where we go to take on the cave-themed gym leader Davern. He leads with a Grozard and I lead with Orchinx. He tries to hit me with a Bulldoze, but then I take him out with a Giga Drain. He then brings out this Modrill guy, who also goes down to another Giga Drain. Deerul, a Steel Rock type, comes in next, and goes down after he uses a few potions on it to some more Giga Drains. Last though is the ace, Torofang, a big chunky poison type. I go for Leech Seed and Metal Claws, taking it out and getting our second gym badge. With that, we can get more encounters like a Magikarp. Before we go any further though, there's a hiker just outside the Comet Cave telling Theo that it's too dangerous to go through and that he's just a little kid. So we butt in and convince the hiker to let us through. On our way through though, a cave-in scares Theo, making him poo himself, but we don't care enough to go back for him, so we run into a Turlar which we catch, and go to Route 5 and get ourselves a Trickway, a little guy that if female, could have evolved into a legendary. But we make do. In Rochvale Town we run into Bambo who says that there's a problem at Cypress Labs and that we need to get there quickly to check it out. Turns out that somebody broke in and took something to do with a device called the Pokemon Speech Translator, a device that translates Pokemon cries into human language. Pretty cool. But it turns out what was stolen there was the scientist's Pokemon rather than the device itself, so they give a prototype version to us and ask for us to return their Pokemon. A scientist brings in an Oten who tells us everything about what's going on.
Oten, ow! Scary, so scary was Pokemon asleep. Was moving, but jumped down on mountain cave. Then got free from my Pokeball.
On our way to the Passage Cave on Route 6, we have to fight some Otens who are influenced into thinking that we are an enemy. Once we make our way into the cave, however, we run into a Pokemon? This guy's Garlickid, a hero who's trying to unite Pokemon for freedom from humans, and he fights us because he wants to prove himself. He comes with Lunapop, Minyan, and Barshaft, but they all stand no chance from our evolved Alten, Eshialten's returns. He's a little slow on the uptake and is confused as to why our Pokemon actually work with us, and Garlickid is in disbelief as the scientist Pokemon all break free from their balls, going back to their trainers. As a reward for our hard work, we get to keep the prototype translator. After that though, we get some more Pokemon like this Paha, a flying fire type. And in Rochvale Caves, we get the ever-reliable Gligar. And on Route 7 towards Beale Beach City, our rival Theo wants to fight again once more. He leaves with Deerul, who gets Giga Drained. He brings out his Chimical, so I go to Eshialten and just finish him off with returns, because so many Pokemon are so good in this game, it's genuinely not fair. Anyway, I then get to Beale Beach City and hatch an egg which has a Nubin in it, a grass electric type that'll be handy in the next gym. Before then though, we go to the Ranger HQ and meet our dad for the first time in ages. He's at a loss for words as we've grown so much as a person and a trainer, and gotten so much stronger since we were a little kid. He then asks us if we can deliver a letter to Theo's dad Cameron on the power plant Epsilon Island, instead of asking if we're well. I level up and evolve my other Pokemon and get a Kokoron on Route 7 before hopping across the ferry to the island. But not without Theo tagging along, of course. Now, we get access to Nuclear Pokemon for the first time. Nuclear type is a special type in Uranium. They are super effective against nearly every type, but almost weak to every single type except their own. It also turns out that in every case almost apart from 2, these guys act like a traded Pokemon and won't always listen to you. Meaning that they take the term glass cannon super literally. We pick up a Nuclear Tancoon though, on the island before getting to the old power plant where our mum was last seen 10 years ago. We go into the old power plant and find a burnt out notebook with some loose pages hanging around the place, but we then find this weird device that even after 10 years is still on for some reason, so we interact with it. All of a sudden we fall into a pitfall that drops us down a floor or two and a nuclear Trollpint draws near. I throw some balls at this as it is an available encounter even though it's above the level cap. We can use it later on. After this, however, we aren't feeling very good and faint on the spot as Cameron then pulls us out of there, taking us back to the rest house and recommends we get away from the radiation for a while and challenge a third gym in the process. Speaking of the third gym though, let's fight it. Carly's a beach Pokemon specialist, but almost all of her Pokemon are weak to Nubin's awesome typing of grass and electric. Before we fight the gym leader though, our Arkinks evolve into a Metalynx, which is awesome timing. Carly leads with the Tubjaw as I lead with my Metalynx, almost taking it down with a slash as I go for a Hone Claws and Leech Seed to preserve HP. She then switches into a Braylet, who just about goes down. I know she's going to heal here though, however, so I take the opportunity to go for Hone Claws and boost my attack in an effort to kill. I then slash, taking it out as Tubjaw comes back in just to switch to Sablo, a water ground type who gets sucked by Giga Drains. She finally lets her Tubjaw go down so she can bring in her Cararelm, who goes down to 2 slash attacks, giving us the tied badge. With the third badge, we leave Beale Beach City to head to the next gym, but a major explosion happens over at Power Plant Epsilon just like 10 years ago when everything happened before, causing some Pokemon to turn ravenous against humans. Our dad tells us to head inland towards Vinnerville Town and that a ferry is already there at the dock to take us. On the way though, we have to fend off Corsolas and Gyarados before getting shoved onto the boat. On the boat is our rival Theo, who's worried about his dad on the island, but we have a fight with him to try and get his mind off it. But even beating his ass doesn't really do him any favours and he kicks us out of his room. We dock soon after and delay our encounter here in order to get a gift soon after. We race straight into the 4th gym led by Sheldon the Science Geek. So let's get the 4th badge. Sheldon leads an S51, which is an alien guy, and I lead my Terzard. Unfortunately he has Levitate though, so I have to switch to my Pajit, who then kills with a Flame Burst. Next is Gararul, who I go for a flame burst on again, but because it's sturdy we don't actually kill and he gets off a rollout taking it out for our first death of the run. It's unfortunate, but we take it on the chin as Terzard sweeps the rest of the battle. After leaving the gym we get told that there's a little kid hanging out around the edge of town and it turns out to be Theo. He's been training but he knows he won't beat us at the minute as we have our 4th badge and he does not. However, before he can get the badge, a tremor hits us and a ranger tells us that we need to evacuate immediately. We hop on a ranger's Staraptor as we head over to Legion Town with Theo in tow. On the way, however, we see that another meltdown has occurred, even worse than before, leaving devastation in its wake. The rangers then take us into a safe house for the time being, where they explain that we are witnessing a phenomenon that the Tandor region has not experienced before. The nuclear plant Zeta has had a meltdown. The people are suspicious as both this and the prior meltdowns happened so close together. They're in need of strong trainers to help with the situation however, so we put up our hand to go do it. They then tell us what we need to do and Kellen is here to help us as well. We need to clear the area of nuclear Pokemon, so we capture an Ekans and take down some more with the help of the rangers. After we help all the people however, Kellen gives us the strength HM to get to Amatree Town. It's so far off the beaten path that they don't have a power or internet source there. On the way there though, I help a lady out with something and get an S51, a cool steel psychic type. I get a Mankey on the way to Amatree as well as a Flager in Amatree Town, more on this guy soon though. We get a S'more in Ant Hell, and as we get to Amatree, we want to go to the gym, however one of the gym trainers says he's gone missing, and hasn't been seen in a while. But they suspect that the gym leader is in the Ant Hell, training his fire types, so we spray some bugs in the face and fall deeper into the caves. Tiko, the gym leader, is entangled within webs from all of the bugs in there. He gets us to untie him from the webs, but we get blocked in by even more bugs. They then wake up the legendary Tsukinami, so we then have to beat it up. It unfortunately can't be caught, which would be cool because it is a bug type legendary, but we beat it quick enough. Tiko then asks us to come with him to his gym and we go to fight him. He has fire type Pokemon and leads a Pallige, so I leave with my Gyarados and go for an Aqua Tail. I then take out Fire Oak, Page, Chimiconda and Inflator, all with Aqua Tails, winning us the 5th gym badge. We also get the ability to use Surf outside of battle so we can go to the eastern side of the region. On the way there, however, we get stopped by a bunch of ninjas who have some fairly weak Pokemon and I catch a Frynai on the way there, a cool steel water type who I named Kunai. However, these ninjas Hokage wants to punish us for destroying his fellow ninjas, but he stands no chance whatsoever. On the next route, I get an Eevee and we get to Venacy City. Venacy City has its own Pokemon gym and theatre, so we head on in there with some steel types as it's predominantly a fairy and psychic type based gym. Our Metallinks takes care of the gym trainers before we fall through the floor and encounter the 6th gym leader Rosalind. She leads with an illusion masking as I use Metallink's Night Slash to take it out. I then take out everything else with +4 attack Leaf Blades, winning the fight with ease and getting the 6th gym badge in the process. After this we get a call from the professor saying that Theo is waiting for us out in the wilderness, so we go and beat him up. I then get a Linkite in this cave and we head up north to Route 15 where I get a Tubjaw. On the way through to Silverport Town I do a little side quest and get the Gala Kid from earlier to join our side. On the way to the next city, I also pick up a Frosciolo and a Puffluff, 2 pretty neat Ice-type Pokemon. In Snowbank City, we go to take on the 7th gym. However, we can't do it alone, and the gym is undertaken as pairs to test your true strength as a trainer through a bunch of trials. However, luckily for us, these trials are fairly easy and the trainers don't prove to be much different. The gym leader, however, is a whole nother kettle of fish. He has a team full of 6 Pokemon including a Mega Ampharos. And to make matters worse, this is actually a tag battle with Theo, giving me flashbacks to tag battles like the Volcano tag and Silpho tag in other ROM hacks. But let's get this badge. I lead my Nucleon with Theo's Gararul and Vaeryn leads a Glavenug and the Goat Dunsara. However, this is the exact moment I get showcased Nucleon's pure power. Nucleon's ability is called Atomizate, with Hyper Voice against dual-type Pokemon, meaning that it is a 4 times super effective move, as Atomizate is like Pixelate. It changes every single move to its own type. So luckily for us, we didn't have to rely on Theo one bit during this entire battle. However, straight after this, we get access to Mega Evolution as Vaeryn gives us our very own Mega Bracelets as well as a Mega Stone of a Pokemon of our choice. And it's only right that we both choose our starters, so I have a Mega Metallinks and he has a Mega Electroxo, which gets one shot. Luchabra then comes in next but lives a hit, albeit to only go down to one more. Next in is Chimiconda, a fire poison type, and it forces me to switch out to Gyarados. Gyarados then proceeds to miss not one Aqua Tail, but two, causing it to die from its own incompetence. I swear, it doesn't matter what game I play, no matter the Nuzlocke, my Gyarados dies! Like, come on, man! I then bring out Nucleon, who frags a couple of kills, and then Soundproof Para Audio comes out, forcing me to switch again to S51, who takes it out and finishes the Nucleon off as well. Bambo then calls us to ask how things are going and lets us know that to get to the 8th gym in Tsukinami Village, we may have to fend off pirates and the like. We then get the Dive HM as well as in order to get there. On the plus side, having Dive, however, means we can skip a whole lot of battles. Underwater though, I get this little guy called Shrimpity, a water fire type. In Tsukinami Village, there's also a vendor who sells insanely broken things like choice bands and focus lashes, so I buy something to take advantage of later. But now for the final gym. This gym actually has a neat puzzle where you need to make it so the amount of black and white tiles are equal with one another in order to progress. It's actually pretty easy, and so is the gym leaders. Wait, gym leaders? Yeah, so this fight is the king and queen of the Tsukinami clan, and they actually come at us in an 8 vs 6 Pokemon battle. Back to back. However, we might have what might be the most broken Pokemon in the game. Mega Inflagetar. Now, I've mentioned a couple of times that this guy's pretty good. However, this dude has 145 attack, as well as a speed stat of a destructive 175, actually being the fastest Pokemon in the entire game. Its ability is also insane. The ability Acceleration gives a 50% boost to the damage of any priority move whatsoever, so Quick Attack is basically 60 power, Extreme Speed 120. However, we also get access to a stab priority move in Flame Impact, a 65 base power move at face value, but a 145 power move when you do the math. Incredible to such an extent that all we need is some Extreme Speed and Flame Impacts to take out both of the gym leaders with absolute ease. Straight after this, however, a massive threat of a meltdown is happening, and the island is forced to be evacuated. We join up quickly with the rest of the rangers in an effort to stop anything bad happening. We help everyone out by taking out all of the nuclear Pokemon here, but not until after we catch a Hargoop in the water here. After helping everyone out with a massive explosion occurs from inside the plant, and a person in a hazmat suit with a green alien Pokemon comes out from the billowing smoke. Before anything bad happens, Theo's dead Cameron comes from the clouds on his Yatagaryu, and organised that the uranium was to be removed from the plant before so that they weren't able to get any power from it. As URAYNE charges up an attack on Cameron, Theos tries to jump in front of him and be brave, but Cameron pulls a Piccolo and yeets him out of the way. The Rangers and Cameron are rushed away from medical support as Bumbo talks about the fact that after all this time, he still never gave us the Fly HM because he forgot. We race back to where Cameron and Kellen were within the ICU under close surveillance on their health, and turns out that Cameron had a letter for us to read, basically saying that he was a secret agent of the CIA all this time. But he is also unable to disclose it because otherwise there would have been a lot of uproar. Kellen then says that he wants us to go to the nuclear plant Zeta and get Curie under control. We are to take a ferry there and wear the hazmat suit that is already on board the boat. He also promotes Theo and ourselves to full Pokemon Ranger status and is proud of both of us for doing such an incredible job as Pokemon trainers. We touch land and have to fight horde after horde of nuclear infected Pokemon. Luckily though, these guys are pretty chill, and Inflagetar sorts nearly all of them out. We go a little further where these little guys are going into and find out that there is a Pokemon that is curing everything around it, kind of like Shaman in that one scene in Mystery Dungeon. We let Kellen know about this and he says that while it's incredible that this is a reality and that nuclear Pokemon can potentially be healed, that we still have a mission to complete ourselves. And we fight Pokemon off with Theo now, but when we start getting closer to the plant, the radiation is so severe that even little Theo is struggling. However, we get caught before we can back out anywhere, and URAYNE kidnaps ourselves and Theo along with us. We wake up somewhere in the power plant and the suit is slowly fading its protection from the radiation, so we need to find Theo and get out quickly, as our suit is so badly damaged that we have zero communications with the outside world and anyone else in general. We find a manual with some instructions for some levers to pull on, turning the electricity on in the southern part of the plant. We can unlock a door and get into a central clearing, but we have to turn on the power in the rest of the plant before we can go to the deepest part, so we just do that. Before going in though, we get a warning saying that due to high radiation, we can only be in this area for a short time. That time being 5 minutes. But with more than enough time on the clock thanks to an online map, we get to the end and fight Curie. She gives us a speech almost that of someone belittling us and shows that Theo is being held captive within a stasis tank. And as much as I'd love to hype this fight up, Mega Inflagetar, just destroys this entire fight. It's simply too broken. As we destroy URAYNE's raw power, it reverts back to its alpha form as it had not had any intake of uranium in so long. We then get a call from Kellen saying that the radiation has completely stopped in the area and wonders whether Theo is okay as well as ourselves. He then breaks free from the stasis tank and leaves him in a pretty shoddy state. Our dads then told us that we should go to the $10 Championship, which is essentially the Pokemon League of this game, and we went through the victory road over chasms, into forests, and through volcanoes, collecting some awesome stuff in the process. But now, we're in the Pokemon League. Our father, Bumbo, Cameron, and Theo all come running after us before we go in, and Theo tells us that he better see us in the final. We go in with a pretty similar team to what we've had for most of the game, and first up for us in the league is Senior Gold Corn. He leads with Tanskua as I lead my Garlic Kid and take it out with a Drain Punch. He then brings out Whimsicott, so I have to go to my Daikatuna and take it out with an Iron Head. Then comes Huraluna ground fighting type, so I go across to Gliscor and take it out with a couple of acrobatics, as well as Splendifowl in the same way. Then comes Ampharos, so I use Daikatuna as a pivot across to Jellin to take it down. Finally is Barriette, so I go to Garlickid and go to town with fighting moves, winning the fight. Second up is Angelica, who eats some Swordfish Iron on all of her Pokemon going down with absolute ease. And third up is Vaeryn, the same man who gave us our Mega Bracelet not so long ago. He leads with his Muddy Dunstar, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. So this Nucleon guy might be kinda good? Damn. Last up for us in the Elite Four though is Callie the Water Gym Leader, a little luckier than my second attempt where I got dealt Tiko, who with Choice Scarf contrary overheating Chimichangas absolutely sent me packing along with some Mega Inflator. But nonetheless, Carly leads her Tub Jaw, so I go with Garlic Kid, going for a solid Drain Punch and a second one takes it out. I then go to Daikatuna on her Raynor to take it out with some Earthquakes as Kokansa comes in, so I go to Garlic Kid to avoid the KO, and go in with Giga Trains taking it and Escartris out. Corsory, however, was a little luckier. I take a chance as I know Dazzling Gleam is coming in to go to Daikatuna and hopefully live a resisted hit, but unfortunately we lose Daikatuna. Jellin then comes out to finish it and take out the Mega Gyarados that followed, so we made it into the final. And you already know that with that plot armor, that Theo was going to make it here too. He gives us a little monologue about our adventure and how we basically saved the world and that it was kind of fate that we would match up here in the final of the championship. We show some respect to him as well and let him know that we're proud of the little dude and how far he's grown and developed as a trainer. He says that we're more than just a rival, but a role model as well to him, and that he was actually jealous of us at the start because our starter was better than his. But before we can fight one another, a massive tremor shakes the entire volcano, but it's not an eruption, it's the legendary Pokemon Actan. But it's controlled by radiation, showing us that URAYNE and Curie are very much live and kicking. Theo gives us some balls, but it turns out that after looking online we're actually unable to catch her in this fight. However, we can catch it in the post-game and we can use it in the next fight. Unfortunately for it though, a single Flame Impact from Inflator wins us the matchup. Bumbo, Cullen and Vaeryn all congratulate us on taming such a beast, and Vaeryn uses his ability to connect with Actan, vaporizing the radiation within. At the same time, he also reveals that the reason for all this happening is because someone entered Actan's lair and disturbed its slumber. After we defeat it though, Actan offers to join us at our side for this final battle as a plume of nuclear gas comes our way. Curie shows up and laughs in our faces about how we thought we got rid of them, but instead they've since become stronger and URAYNE is now in its fully powered form. They also say that the suffering that we have caused them is simply too much and that the only solution now is complete destruction of everything. Luckily for us though, we have our hazard suit intact still, so we can quickly throw it on while everyone else leaves the arena. Curie then tries to tell us that we're just a tool, a pawn in their game, but we're out to prove that wrong, and for one last time. Let's go into battle. URAYNE is here at level 85, so I lead with Inflator and Mega to give it a rightful send-off with one last Flame Impact. Then I bring in Jellin and finish it off. Curie begins to then go berserk as a result, in order that a simple 10-year-old could beat the ultimate power of the legendary Pokemon. Actan then gets rid of all the radiation and flees towards Lanthanite Mountain. A dud then comes along, and unlike my own, he's actually proud of us. He knows that we've done it. Saved the Tandor region once more. Kellen then goes to Curie to remove the interface and is in shock. It turns out that behind the mask was none other than our own mother, Lucille. Somehow, even after all this time, she lived on. Looking no different to what she did a whole decade ago when the incident happened. Callan begins to lose it, asking Cameron whether he knew that Lucille was alive during that time. But even Cameron was at a loss for words. He thought it may have been possible, but didn't take it into serious consideration. But it turns out the reason that she likely survived was due to the Curie interface. Although Theo then interrupts, saying that the stasis tank that he was in earlier was likely similar to what Lucille was in to keep herself alive. It's sad, really. All this time, our father just wanted to see his wife once more. But this is the worst possible way that it could have taken place. She needed a hospital, so she was rushed away with Kellen, and just as we try to leave, Acton turns with URAYNE. However, URAYNE is no longer aggressive, in fact, the complete opposite. It wants to talk to us and tell the whole story as to what happened all those years ago, and its lust for ever-growing power. About how it simply obtained an infinite source of power from Acton. It even says that itself, giving it the gift of eternal life. No more hunger, no more fear. Acton is said to be the creator of all radioactive metal. Even shared some with URAYNE. The critical flaw in URAYNE's design was the need for fuel, and if it ran out, it would go dormant and die. However, as Acton gave it a self-sustaining source, it won't need to do anything. And it even apologizes, as it was afraid for so long. Its only friend, Lucille, helped it survive, and the two became one, needing each other, and the hunger never stopped. It had to destroy, had to make it go away, and needed energy to simply stay alive. But where did it come from? And why was it created? As we get a cutscene, as URAYNE was made in a dark place underground. Every day they ran tests. It tried to reach out to the humans, but it couldn't move. It couldn't be heard. It was alone. Until one day, Lucille tried with the Curie interface to connect with it. One time, and it truly did connect, with Lucille being the head scientist on the project at the time. And URAYNE simply responds, asking about itself, learning that it is an artificial life form created in a lab, and then simply being alone is a saddening thought. But then later, she was there again, and became even friends with URAYNE. Lucille naming it herself, rather than a simple U092, as it, to her at least, was a special experiment, being truly exceptional, and learning simply more than it could ever think to about Curie herself. Every day, she would be there. At night, when everyone left, she stayed behind, telling it about the lab and the world outside, learning its purpose to change it for the better, creating infinite energy and improving the lives of people and Pokemon, and learning that that was its purpose, until the one day where it was told that it was going to be aborted and destroyed, simply vanquished into nothing. And URAYNE, being a life form, had no idea why, as it was intended to be a living machine, or a shell, if anything. Lucille had decided to cover it up all this time about its true origins, that it was illegal, and creating something artificial was truly deceptive, and that a doctor would rather destroy everything about it than let it go to the public. And simply, URAYNE was more than confused as to why this would be the case. Lucille vowed to ensure that URAYNE would stay out and be safe. She did everything she ever could, until the one day, the incident. URAYNE, in all of its confusion, didn't know what was to happen, but there was one solution, and that was the stasis tank. Lucille sealed the room completely from the inside and out, shielded from radiation. And until they knew that there would be nothing to damage them, she would join it, alone, for 10 long years, promising to never abandon it and stay by its side until the end of time. Scared and hungry, together they were so hungry for so long, but they then got free, and knew to stop the hunger they needed fuel, and due to the power of URAYNE, they could just take what they needed and get stronger. However, URAYNE never wanted to hurt anyone. It didn't know that what it was doing was wrong, almost like that of a child. But now, the hunger was gone. They thought all humans were there to destroy them, but they know that that isn't true, as we protected our friends. just like she protected it. And then URAYNE simply says that they want to join us, and that that's what their friend would want. As it goes into a nuclear ball, there's no need for a real nickname here, but simply put, Little Dude is all we need. And it's more than enough to prove our true power. It wants to be on our side to see a different light, as the broadcaster then asks Theo as to whether the final match should still go ahead, but instead, in a show of respect of our achievements, Theo resigns that final match, forfeiting the title of champion to us, as he thinks that no one deserves it more than we do for our exploits across the region. We then go into the Hall of Fame room and register our very own Pokemon as champions of Pokemon Uranium.